and welcome back to Installation 00, and it's Wednesday, which means it's time to look at the weapons of the Halo universe. So let's enter into the Armory, where all weapons from Halo lore will be featured and analysed in detail, and in this episode, we take a closer look at the Shade Turret. Let's begin. An enormous spectrum of diverse turret systems occupy the Covenant's Shade designation, easily deployable weapon emplacements that are designed to fortify operational bases and protect sites of value. Shade turrets are the most standardized system of defensive emplacements used by the Covenant and are able to be swiftly activated by dropships and deployment platforms in order to defend makeshift outposts and other locations of interest. The dramatic differences in shade patterns reflect not function iteration over time, but explicit, purpose-built solutions in response to specific needs in groundside engagements, as well as adapting to the unique ergonomic needs of various client species. The specific configuration and pattern of shade deployed varied based on the dictates of the local command, but was embroiled in politics, largely driven by the Sanshayan ministers responsible for fleet logistics and weapon procurement. Due to this large diversity in shade patterns, they also vary greatly in size. 2.6 meters or 8.5 feet in length at the low end, up to as large as 5.7 meters or 18.6 feet at the high end, 2.1 meters or 6.9 feet in width at the low, and 3.5 meters or 11 foot 6 at the large, and 1.8 meters or 5.9 feet in height at the low end, and 3.8 meters or 12.4 feet at the high end, with a mass varying between 230 kilograms or 508 pounds and 373 kilograms or 823 pounds. As with many Covenant plasma weapons, the Shade turrets use superheated ionized gas as ammunition, in particular hydrogen fluoride, which it siphons from a reserve and channels it through a conduit, which then mixes with power cell energy, exciting the gas to a superheated plasma, then encapsulating it within a magnetic confinement field that is then discharged from the accelerator conduits of the Shade turret by means of a high inductance electromagnetic field. Rate of fire and size of projectile vary dramatically from shade pattern to pattern, but what is universally true of all of them is that the plasma that they fire are equally damaging to infantry, light vehicles, and aircraft. And with enough concentrated fire from numerous weapons emplacements, even extraordinarily well armed and equipped enemy armies can be held at bay and picked off rapidly over time. After the Covenant shattered, Akoan weapons began producing a variant of the Iupimu pattern, the Muresh, reverting the restrictions formerly instituted by Sanshayan munitions ciphers. Although the initial line was produced by a foundry on Hesturos, all Sangheili factions quickly adopted this pattern, which featured twin medium plasma cannons, resting on a mount vaguely resembling the body of the Zotakel crab. This shade's open frame is lightly armoured to balance between ease of access and the protection of its operator, though some variations provide ablative plating and energy shielding to supplement the frame. Employed in large numbers by Julam Dama's Covenant and fielded by commanders who saw no value in the concept of strategic withdrawal, the Shoriru pattern was one of the most aggressive shade emplacements developed by Akoim weapons, boasting an extraordinary rate of fire and high stable power drive. The weapon's cannon is largely without equal. It is capable of swiftly gunning down enemy infantry and mechanized forces before they can counterstrike. The most common shade variant during the Covenant's war with humanity, the Preksheda pattern, optimized modularity with several interchangeable components. This allowed the integration of different weapon systems, additional armor plates, and even upgraded shielding. The default configuration featured two medium plasma cannons, though heavier fuel rod and mortar subvariants were commonly employed. This shade's impressive design meant that it remained in circulation long after the close of the war and heavily influenced a number of weapons developed by various splinter factions. Originating from the same base template as the Preksheda, the Rizsheda pattern bears a heavily integrated carapace protecting the gunner from almost all lines of fire. Although it was not as common as its sister pattern, this shade was often designed by tactical command ministers for overkill strikes, costly operations which absorb substantial infantry losses in order to secure key strategic positions. This turret still remains in full service among the Covenant which survived on the Ark aboard the Dreadnought. The artisan armourers of Akoim weapons claim that the Mumua Uda pattern is one of the oldest shade variants still in use, with a storied history that stretches back hundreds of years and dozens of conflicts. Despite it being outclassed in performance and providing little to no protection for its operator, it was especially prized by pious Covenant commanders due to its antiquity. The fleet of particular justices Thel Vadami was one of those before his withdrawal from the Covenant, employing them in his campaign on Alpha Halo. The lightest and most portable shade variant used by the Covenant was the Iupimu pattern, developed for special forces and select fleets operating under Hierarch mandate. Small enough to be self-deployed by Ungoi, the Iupimu features a dissipative shielding system protecting an open gunner seat with controls to a pair of rapid-fire plasma cannons, capable of shredding enemy infantry and even light armoured vehicles. Its slight, portable size proved advantageous during Regret's many invasion campaigns. Overall, what is common among all shade turrets is that they provide exceptional suppression fire against infantry with a very wide field of fire. However, the plasma bolts have a relatively low accuracy over immense distances, and the turrets lack the punch to damage heavily armoured targets like the Scorpion main battle tank or even the Magala Golo, otherwise known as the Hunters. Additionally, the operator is often exposed to enemy fire, making them vulnerable. Even the ability for the weapon to pivot around so that the operator isn't attacked from behind is slow and cumbersome, allowing more agile attackers that are flanking the Shade's position to maneuver around and keep in the blind spot of the Shade turret's guns. The Shade turret has been extensively used by Covenant forces to defend bases, camps, and strategic points. It has seen action in numerous engagements, including the Fall of Reach and the Battle of Installation 04. The turret is commonly operated by Ungoi and occasionally by Sanghili or Jiralhane, and remains a staple in Covenant defensive strategies, offering versatile firepower against infantry threats. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, consider hitting the subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on future content, and hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. It really does help the channel out significantly. Feel free to pop a comment below on anything you'd like me to cover next, and before signing off I just want to give a shout to my Patreon supporters, Spartan10148, my singular contender class ancilla, Falcon, Jordan and Poseidon, the metarchs of my facility, Sylphia, Ashley, Esoteric, Spartan 1029 and Chris Allen, my dutiful monitors, Darian, Legion, Labrat, Spartan 137, Chris, Element 0, J3, Mr. Keys, Gunslinger Cult, Evermore's Personal Devil, Scion Esports, and Saber, my diligent sub-monitors, my dominating fleet of Strato Sentinels, and my loyal enforcers, and all other patrons who continue to support the channel. I can't thank you guys enough. Big props to my Tier 0 YouTube members, Spartan 137, Talia, Fenrir, Bornstella, and Jimbo, and all other YouTube members keeping the installation running on that glorious vacuum energy. And if you really love what I'm doing here, consider supporting the channel via the links in the description. Much love, take it easy, and find peace in the domain.